Hello everyone and welcome to the ultimate AMTW guide. In today's video I'm going to be going through what AMTW is, how you play it and all the details. For anyone interested, the end part of the video is going to be on the recently added assassin trait and how you effectively can use it. If you guys would be interested in a part 2 where I go through AMTW with reverse, then please let me know in the comments down below and give this video a thumbs up. Anyways, let's get straight into it. So if we're gonna start from the very beginning, what is AMTW? AMTW is a deck that can get your opponent's board from looking like this to looking something like this. AMTW stands for Assassin Meta Timewinder, and in order to play this deck you're gonna need these 5 dices. There is one alternative to this deck where you switch Timewinder for Clone, but I might go through that in another tutorial. So the Assassin dice's job is basically to get your opponent's dices all the way to 7 pips, from whatever pip count that they have prior to that. In PvP, Assassin removes dots from the dices, but in co-op it actually hires them, so there's the explanation for that. The Timewinder dice's job is basically to allow you to keep your other dices on the board. Now, if you don't know what I mean by this, if you've gotten enough Timewinder points to do a recall, you will basically save your board when you merge 2 different Timewinders. So as you guys can see on this clip right here, when I merge 2 Timewinders, I can just literally merge whatever else that I want, because once the timer hits 0, it's all going to go back to basically the same as it was before, except that the Timewinders you merged are going to be merged afterwards as well. You basically get Timewinder points by waiting on the Timewinder to give you more points, or simply by waiting second by second by second without having any Timewinder recalls. You basically have to gather 100 seconds worth of time in order to activate the recall. Metastasis' job in the deck is pretty much just to give you as much SP as possible and your opponent. And once you merge 2 Metastasis dices, you are going to get an SP supply spawned at the opening of your portal. If your Metastasis dices looks like this, basically a boss Metastasis, it is going to give you 1000 SP per pip that you merge. So you're basically gonna wanna save those as much as you possibly can. And then we have Joker in the deck, and the Joker's job is basically to copy whatever that you might need on the board at the moment. So for example, if you need more assassins and you want to hire the pips, you're basically gonna want to Joker all the assassins on your board. But if you need more SP, you might want to copy some more Metastasis dices. Mimic's job in the deck is pretty much just to allow you to merge as much as you want to merge. It basically just allows you to get more of the other dices, or getting rid of them by merging them together if you need to do that for some reason. It basically just gives you more flexibility on your board. So for this live commentary part that I'm basically the worst at, I am supposed to show you guys how to play the deck. Now, as you guys can see, already off the bat, I have 2 assassins, 1 Metastasis and a Joker. Now, what I usually do in this situation is always Joker the Metastasis. As you guys can see, I just got myself a boss meta, and this is worth 1000 SP later on in the game. If I was to merge it right now, it would give me quite a lot of less SP, but it would still be a decent boost. However, I do not want to merge it now immediately. Instead, I want to get a double Timewinder so I can use one of my recalls and then simply save this for later on, but still use it right now. As you guys can see, I just got another one. So I'm free to merge these 2, and they're gonna give me as much SP as if I merged basically 1 with each of these. So it basically doesn't matter if you're merging 2 Metastasis dices that are boss metas, because it's basically going to give you the same amount. Normally, you're not gonna want to merge these until wave 5 or later on in the game, and before you ever merge them, you're always gonna want to use a Timewinder. There you go. So as you guys can see, there are SP supplies right now, and the moment that they get destroyed, you're basically gonna get a lot of SP. So as you guys can see, I only have 1 charge left, and the maximum amount you can have is 2. So I'm just gonna wanna keep on merging my Timewinders and producing SP until my opponent has a good enough setup and basically tells me to send my assassins as well. So you usually want to upgrade your Timewinder to the max level as quickly as you possibly can, and there we go. My opponent now has a good setup. So what I want to do now is basically merge the assassins as well. When I have my Timewinder activated, you are free to merge your assassins randomly in case you basically just need to get more SP, or that you want to get a chance to get your first boss metas or anything like that. So now that I merged these two Timewinders, I basically want to merge all these other dices, and they're gonna go back to the same as they was before. And these are pretty much the basics to this entire deck. You basically want to keep on merging your assassins and still farming SP at the same time. This does, however, depend a bit on what your opponent is playing, basically what deck they're using. Some decks don't really need SP, but since my opponent is playing with recharge, they're gonna wanna have plenty of SP in order to get as many levels on the recharge as possible. So right here I am kinda spam merging just because I want us to survive wave 15 without him getting hit. And there we go, we did it. So normally you shouldn't really spam merge unless you've produced enough SP for it to be enough for the entire game, because in that situation it doesn't really matter if you spam merge or not, but you want to use your Timewinder as much as possible so you don't run out of SP. I believe I have said just about everything about the basics of playing the deck, so I'm just going to speed up the rest of this gameplay, and I'll get back to all of you once I have basically maxed out my opponent's board.
I know that I can't go on without you. It's hard, cause it took 5 years until I found you. Oh, I'm not gonna let you go. Oh, I'm gonna hold you close. It's hard, cause it took 5 years until I found you. We're just getting started, baby. I can't control my...
So as you guys can see, I am just moments away from basically maxing my opponent's board right now, and we also have a pretty decent amount of SP. What you might want to do at a situation like this is to basically just clean your board and remove all the Metastasis dices. Why is this? Well, you're probably just not really gonna need any more SP, really, and you're nothing's gonna happen to your opponent's SP anyway. So if you really just have a lot of SP, you might just wanna get rid of all of them. So there we go. I basically have my opponent's board like all set up now. I have spare SP and everything. So what I wanna do now is basically to clean my board. And by cleaning my board, it basically means merging everything and making it flat so that I can't really merge anything else. By doing this, you are not going to risk giving your opponent any extra unnecessary assassins or anything such as that. That is basically all I got for this part of the video. Next up is this same deck but with assassin trait. Here is that. Alrighty, so the idea of playing this with the trait is almost the same as playing it without trait. Now, the strategy that I've found works the best is if you play this on Quantum. Now, you can of course play it on any board and it's gonna work just fine, but the best idea if you're going to do that is to bring your reverse. As I said earlier in the video, I might make a tutorial on that as well if you guys really want one. So the idea with the trait is that basically wherever you merge it, it's going to launch an assassin on that exact spot, but on your opponent's board of course. So you can basically aim anywhere you want with the assassin, and there's gonna be a guaranteed chance of hitting that exact dice that you want. This can make it a lot easier to basically set up the board all the way from the beginning, but also to max it without having to depend on RNG. I'm gonna get this going and properly farm some SP, and then I'll show you guys what I mean basically. Alrighty, so my DPS is now done setting up basically, and it's now time to send assassins. Now, no assassins were needed for the setup, but basically what you want to try and do as quick as possible is to launch as many of your assassins as possible on the Lunars, of course. The Lunars will help you survive early game and, well, obviously late game as well, but the smartest is to just focus on the Lunars at first. You can, it doesn't matter that much where you send them really, but specifically if you're gonna aim towards something, always aim towards the Lunars. So let's say that I merge my Mimic here because I want to hit the Lunar. I know there's a Timewinder here. Like, merging these aren't gonna do anything to the Lunar exactly, but since I have Quantum, I can basically switch and get an assassin on that exact same spot as I need it to be. So this is basically the idea of it. You can more specifically choose exactly what you want to hit, and you won't really have to worry about merging other things as much. If you are going to play this deck and also farm SP at the same time, I would sometimes recommend you first farming SP, or at least keeping smaller amounts of Metastasis on your board while trying to max the opponent's board. You could of course try and get the Lunars to high pips and then quit sending assassins for a little while just while you get up your SP, but you can really just do it in whatever order that fits you the best. So right here I basically just got all the Lunars maxed, and this is something that I would call a pretty safe situation. This is basically what you're gonna want, and now I'm basically free to farm SP for a little while before I then go back to basically maxing the board using the assassins. So there we go. I guess I got everything set up. So that is my tutorial on how you play AMTW and AMTW with the assassin trait. On this last clip, I'm well aware that I forgot to max one of the scopes, but that is something that quite commonly happens to me. Anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. Today's video is a lot longer than most of my other videos are, but feel very free to let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this tutorial. I really appreciate feedback such as what I did good and what I could have done better in the video. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care, stay safe, and later.